Okay, so we're gonna go over some great form pointers and modifications for the core workout. I have Dana here, and she's gonna demonstrate some of the exercises in this segment that we're gonna just run through some of those key exercises. So go ahead, and Dana, you can come on down to the mat. Go ahead and start on your sit bones and bend the legs, holding on to the outside of the thighs. She's gonna begin to just roll down, so curving through the spine and drawing the belly back, lifting the elbows high. And as she's here, she can use her arms to kind of hold the position, but then contract the abs to hold without using those hands. So let's go ahead now and lift the hands off of the legs. And so as she's holding here, she can pull the belly back more, go a little bit lower and feel those abs engage more. So see how she's drawing the belly in, not pushing the stomach out. That's great. So go ahead now, Dana, roll all the way down to the floor. So relaxing the head down, go ahead and take your feet up into the cross-legged butterfly. So in this segment, when you're doing this exercise, what you need to think about is drawing the belly down and engaging your abs to pull your legs in and to control the movement. So take one leg down halfway to the floor, and then back in and pointing the toes, and then drawing the belly in as the leg comes down. And as you pull in, exhale the breath. So inhale as you lower, exhale as you pull in. Perfect. Again, inhale as you lower, and as she exhale, instead of letting that lower back lift off the floor, she's gonna draw the belly down. So not letting the lower back lift. Again, take the leg down and back in. So when you're here and you feel like your lower back is lifting off of the mat, you need to just take a smaller movement. Just take the leg about maybe a quarter of the way down and then back on in. Okay, so now let's go ahead and move on to the pendulum movement. Go ahead and take your feet and knees together. And then she's going to go and take her hands out to the side, and we're going to do a twist right here from the waist. So she's going to take the knees to one side, and then she's going to use her abdominals to pull back to the center. So again, lower it down to one side. You're shifting your weight to one hip, and then bring it back to center. Perfect. So she's pulling her abs in, and she's feeling her abs do the work. You feeling that? All right, let's do one more time. And back to center. So go ahead and release your feet down to the floor. On that exercise, if you let go of your stomach, you're gonna lose the work completely in your abdominals. So very important, you're always engaging navel to spine, just like how we started, holding onto the outside of the thighs. You're continually pulling in. Okay, so one more exercise. Let's go and extend one leg out, nice and long. Reach the arms up towards the ceiling. Lift on up. Taking your chin gently in towards the chest, so you're not leading with the neck or the chin, and lift up, hold movement. It's down, up, hold. So the small slow movement, you're gonna pick up and down. So pull the abs down to lift up, and gently keeping the neck tucked in. You can make them even smaller, right there and down, up and down. Go ahead and relax. Take a deep breath in. Let's go ahead and switch the legs, other side. Now on this one right here, she should pull on in, and I'm just going to show the circular movement. So go ahead and lift on up, and then just circle towards the leg with the torso. So she's pulling those abs down to lift herself up versus pushing the stomach out. You either think like a loaf of bread. If your stomach's pushing out like that, that's how you're going to train your abs outward. You got to pull in to flatten out that midsection, to tighten up your abs, to keep it real nice and strong here. Very nice. All right, go ahead and release the arms down. So I'm going to show some of the great form pointers for the upper body workout. Now let's go ahead and start with the dolphin pose. This is the first exercise in the segment. So go ahead and come down to your forearms. Dana's going to make fists with her hands and line up her elbows with her shoulders. She's going to tuck her toes under and lift her hips up into dolphin's pose. So go ahead and stretch your hips on up. Walk your feet in a little bit closer towards your body. So yeah, you can maybe readjust, walk your feet closer in, and then lift your hips up. There you go. Now take your gaze between the legs, and then bring your fists together. Drawing the belly in and lifting high in the hips. Now she's just gonna come forward, just a little movement, and then come on back. Drawing the belly in, not letting the lower back arch. There you go, and then come forward a little bit, and then on back. So that's where you wanna start if you are a beginner, just doing that small movement. Good, go ahead and bring your knees down now. Now there's an advanced pose on this segment, on this exercise sequence. You can take the leg behind you, and Dana's going to show the modified version. You're going to extend one leg behind you like this, pointing the toe. And slowly what you can do is you work up to lifting the leg off of the floor, knee hovering. Lift the leg nice and high. Take your gaze towards the knee. So stay here if you are a beginner, and over time, begin to lift the knee off the floor as you get stronger. Okay, you can bring the leg down on that one. Let's go ahead and work into our push-ups. So we're gonna do some circular push-ups. So go ahead and take your hands about outside of the shoulders. She's gonna take a modified plank. So knees together. She's gonna pull the belly in so her body's in one nice long line. Excellent. Now she's gonna shift her weight from one side, going down to the center, other side, and push. So you're just gonna shift one side, going slow, doing a small movement. As you get stronger, you can go deeper into that push-up position, but it's great to just do that micro bend push-up as you are just learning, learning how to do the push-up, or if you have any issues with your shoulders, it's a great modification to do this one. Perfect. So let's go ahead now and move on to our tricep push-ups. Same thing. Hands though are right about shoulder distance apart. She's gonna go ahead and take her chest forward. You want your head to be slightly forward of the fingertips. Pulling the shoulders back, shift to one side, and then point your shoulders towards that hand, and then shift one side, center, other side, and up to do your circular movement. So she's gonna do a real small micro bend movement to begin with. As you get stronger, you can take your upper arm bone about parallel to the floor. And then reversing it other way, going down and circle. So as you get stronger, you can also add a little bit more movement. You always decrease your range of motion as you are learning an exercise and you're building strength, and then you increase the range of motion as you get stronger. Perfect. All right, so go ahead, we're gonna move on to our Dancers Reach Side Plank series. So this is the modified version for this exercise. You're gonna go ahead and come down to the mat, stack up your knees together, and take one hand and press the palm to the floor. So turn your fingertips away from the body, lift the hips on up. And now take this leg and rotate it open, and then take it to a releve position. There you go. Now, taking your fingertips, make sure you face them there, and lift the arm on up. So right here is a modified version for the exercise where the leg is extended in the releve position. Now she's gonna lift the knee up, doing a small tap, up and down. If you can't take this version yet, this is a great modification. Excellent, keep going, just like that, Dana, good. Pulling the abs in, lift up and lower. And then she'll hold the position, lift the foot off, and she'll take a hold here. And you can work that leg back just a little bit, holding it for a few counts, and then bring that knee on down. Perfect, so that would be your modification, and you will build strength over time and get that position. Let's go back into that same exercise. Come on, lift back on up. Now from here, after you take the tap, so once you take the foot behind you just slightly in that releve position, you can take your foot right here in front of the foot, lift up into releve, and now take your arm and reach it forward and sit your hips back for 2. And then take your hips and lift them up and open up the chest, reach your arm back for 2. Perfect, reach for 2 with the hips, and then lift the hips back, and then open through the chest. Good, and then go ahead and lower it on down. All right, excellent. So those are some of the few key exercises in the upper body segment that you can modify for your level. Okay, so we're at the bar. We're gonna go over some of the exercises, getting the form down first because, form is very important to get the positions right and to get the most out of the exercises. So go ahead and take your feet together in parallel position. And she's gonna lift her heels up into releve. Holding on to the bar, her shoulders are gonna stay over her hips and her hips are gonna stay over her heels, and she's gonna take her knees forward. This is her parallel position. She's gonna take her hips back for 2, stretching your hips back, reach for that chair for 2. And then she's gonna directly move her hips forward for 2. So take your hips back, reach them back for 2, shift your hips over heels for 2. Reach back for 2 and hips over heels for 2. Good, so excellent. Sit those hips back and then forward. And then try to take your heels and keep them up a little higher. Get a little bit more work in those thighs. Again, reach your hips back for 2 and forward for 2. So that right there is that bar transition. Go ahead and release your feet down. Take one leg forward now, one leg back. The feet are about 1.5 feet apart. You're gonna lift up into releve position, lower it down. These are releve lunge tucks. Now she's gonna take her hips, rock them back, and then tuck them under. So rock the pelvis forward. She's gonna feel that stretch in the back leg. Tuck and release. Tuck and release. What you're doing in this exercise is you are elongating your thigh muscle. You're feeling the stretch across the quadriceps. At the same time, you're contracting it. So if she takes it a little bit deeper, she's gonna feel those legs work a little more. Do you feel it? Yeah. Good, good, perfect. Okay, excellent. Bring those feet on down. Let's go now. Going that same movement, we're gonna work into the high crescent lunge tuck. So take one leg forward and one leg back, knee over ankle. So taking this heel and lift it up in the back. Good. Good. You can stretch the foot back a little bit more. She's gonna take a flat back over her thigh. So right here, you're gonna feel your glute, right, working in the standing position. From here, she's just gonna move her hips, tuck them on under, and release them back. Now try to keep your flat back over the thigh, and then just move your hips. It's difficult to get it first, especially because we sometimes have a lot of tightness in our hips, but over time you will get it and you will feel it in that supporting glute. Do you feel that front glute working? Feeling that tension build? Good, so give yourself some time. It doesn't feel right at first. You have to learn the movements. It takes your body, an adjustment period. Good, keep tucking under and release. And over time you get a little bit more movement, range of motion. Perfect. All right, go ahead and release out of that. Now from here, working back into the glutes, we're gonna go into the fold over position. So fold over position, front knee is over the ankle. Back toe is gonna lift and point off the floor. So she's gonna go ahead and lift this hip out, rotate it open, and then she's gonna square her hips off. Now try just to move the hips only and not lifting out of the position. Go ahead and sit back a little bit more if you can. Lift the leg off the floor, and then rotate the thigh open and down. Perfect, very good. So she's gonna feel this go right into the center of her supporting glute. You feel that tension building right there? Mm-hmm. Perfect. And then from there, release the foot down and come on up. So that movement takes some time, getting those hips to feel that work. Let's go ahead now and work into our plie. So take your feet together, lift the heels on up. Now a lot of times what happens when we go into releve, our feet come apart, so you're gonna keep those heels together. Lower it down, shoulders over hips, hips over heels. Yep, right there. And then take your hand to your hips. So I want everyone to see her hip is gonna move out to the side. I want you to shift your hips back, sitting back into your plie position. Reach for 2, and then take your hips over heels for 2. And reach back for 2. And hips over heels for 2. And those thighs should be shaking when you are in this position because you are not letting go of the tension on your quadriceps. Sit the hip back and forward. So she wants to go a little bit deeper over time. She can take her hips low and go right over those heels. Reach back and go right over those heels. And then she can also modify staying high in the movement. Good, go ahead and release the heels down. So those are some of the great exercises in the lower body segment. So if you pick up those form pointers over time, you will learn the movements and you will get the most out of these exercises. Thank you, Dana, for helping me.